My storage had to get saved to the SD card. Anyways, this one has in the stage of the new coil has been set. The spacers are in. The hardest thing about this whole recoil is this little solder joint on these leads, because these coils come, the new coils, the leads come up here, out here, so you have to very carefully get the leads out from underneath that top paper they put around there and bring them out to where these are. It's the kind of thing that can be done several different ways. What I do is I just take an X-Acto knife and I cut very so lightly the layer of paper right next to where the lead is underneath the paper on both sides of it, and try to scrape it out there and get that lead, make sure I got at least an inch of that lead out and down to that level of where the new spider is going to be. Anyways, that has already been done here, as you can see. So I was pointing out the paper where it usually goes through. I got it out from underneath that paper, and I soldered that the lead to the tinsel lead, and glued that in while this was all shimmed in there solid and square, how it's supposed to be, as well as this glue joint was done all at the same time. And the only thing left to do here is to put the cone back in, let it dry. The glue that's going to be used is the stuff I'm sending you a bottle of. It's a white latex. It's totally non-toxic and flammable, so there won't be an issue with shipping it to you. But it takes at least overnight to dry. It goes on white like a Elmer's glue, but it dries clear and boogery, for lack of words to say there. So that's what this will get glued back in like. And once that's dry, I'll solder that, pull the shims, test it, make sure everything's moving freely, and then I will put the new dust cap on and it's ready to go. So let me show you this last step. Like I said, this gets ready to glue. What I do here before I glue this on is I'll put a little bead of glue on this lower lip here. And the glue I use is the contact type cement, the really good black hard contact. You don't want to use a CA glue here because there's a chemical reaction where it kind of wants to melt that styrofoam. So this glue needs to stay in that contact level type of glue. But you always want to, whatever glue you're getting over there, you want to try to do a little test spot. Take just a drop of it on the actual cone, and like maybe a drop right there. Just put a little drop and see if it wants to eat that away. If it does, be ready to pluck it off of there and make sure it doesn't go any further. But that little bit ain't going to hurt anything. Or put a little bit on the inside there. Just a drop. If it doesn't eat into the styrofoam, you're good to go. And stuff, I've already done that with my glue, so I'm going to run a bead around that, and then I'm going to also run my bead of latex around the frame itself, and that's ready. This will be obviously a little easier when I'm down there. And then I will slide that back into place, making sure I don't disrupt the coil that's sitting in there. And then I will go ahead and I may have to probably pull those back, and I'll put a little glue right here, or maybe the areas where there's no shims in the way. But what's going to happen, it really depends, but in most cases that glue that I put on that first time will just smear up inside of there, and some of them might even drip out of here. So that's mainly all that needs to be done. And then you can, after that dries overnight, when you come back to pull your shims, you can then look and see and maybe run a little bit around here on the top edge of the coil form. And basically then let that tack up and dry, and always test your speaker, make sure it's working throughout the process after the shims are out, and then throw your dust cap on and you're good to go. This is Dave signing out.